G'day, Chris Walker here, and today I want to talk about living consciously and creating a vision. You know, Einstein was the one who said that if you look far enough into the future, way into the future, you look far enough into the future, you'll see your own bum because light bends and it'll come round and you'll see. So I don't want to look that far in your vision quest. I certainly believe we should look into the future, but not quite so far because that's not a pretty sight. So let's talk about what happens when a person doesn't have a vision. And right now, in this time we're in, there are a lot of people need to do another vision quest because the lack of a vision quest and the lack of a vision and not looking far enough, and not too far, but not looking far enough in the future can cause some horrific life challenging emotional and feelings and reactions and actions that are just not cool. So here's a few: depressed, tired, anxious, overeating, morbid, reactive, doubtful, weak, defensive, fearful. Crikey, the list goes on. You don't want to be one of them. So being without a vision at a time of uncertainty is absolutely no different than being on a ship at sea in a storm without a rudder and an engine and heading for the rocks. So let's all recognize that the human beings, all of us, stay solid, stay strong, stay beautiful, stay healthy, stay loving, stay kind, only if we've got a good, clear vision, and it's time to do one right now. So how does it work? The feeling of not having a vision is a feeling of drowning, like the world around you is in control, the wind is blowing in, you're going to move, the ocean's too deep, the world is coming over you. So it's not a good feeling. So firstly, recognize. Secondly, you can see the two little boys on the outside of this thing. They'd be 10 or 11 years old. They are Maoist soldiers. They actually have rifles, and the people in the middle, the kids, are their slaves. So a person with a vision, no matter how young they are, can dictate the terms to people without them. And it's in the hands of terrorists. This is a really sad thing. So your vision needs to be bigger than the melee, bigger than the mess. That's a really important thing to recognize here. This photo was taken when we were captured by Maoists in Nepal, when we were taking a group up through and we had to negotiate and retreat back. It all looks very fun and friendly, but look at the faces on the two boys. I did Vision Quest. One of the places I studied Vision Quest was within First Nation Canada, up in New Brunswick. And this is a lady that I worked with in the community, and I did a lot of vision work with this community. So the traditional people of the world, Indigenous people, took Vision Quest very, very seriously as part of their foundation of their culture. I also was on television a few years back when James Packer, who lived nearby me, had a big fight with a guy called Gingell, who owned a TV station, and had a big punch-up right outside the front. But it was very interesting to find out not long after that Packer was going through some emotional problems and had lost his vision of his casinos and what was going on in his life. So violence, even in the world, can be caused by a person losing their vision and starting to, let's say, act small in their lives. What happens when we lose our vision? Something very much like this. When it comes to the tough times, we suddenly hesitate and fall. So we need a vision so we can make good decisions in our lives. In our relationships, if we've got a vision and our partner is going in the opposite direction, it can start to be an incredibly conflict-driven relationship. And we go round and round trying to fix the relationship, but the problem is that the two people in the relationship are sinking. They have different visions, and so it's important. I wrote a book on that called Sacred Love. It was published, of all places in the world, in China, and sold millions of copies. I didn't get a cent for it, as you can imagine. So It can also be a problem if we have different gods. We want to be healthy, we want to be financially strong, we want to be a good lover and a partner to our family, we want to be all the things we want. But of course, these things can be counterproductive. So the healthier we get, the less we might want to work, or less stress we might get involved with. And so we can end up with internal conflict. And that internal conflict can eventually sink us internally because we get no peace. So a reason for doing a vision quest is to allow us to have a path and avoid getting distracted by the little things, such as the virus that's going around the world at the moment. In the big story of your life, this will be a small story. In the present story of your life, it may be big. We must maintain. And so when shit comes up and when stuff comes up to disrupt us, to cause us to feel any of the things that I've talked about already, then it's time to have a bigger vision, not shrink, to have a bigger vision. I had this example. This is a needle going into my spine, and this is my spine with pinched, when I had a cyst in my spine, a tumour, and I had to have my spine operated on 3 times. And in that time, the only thing that got me through to the other side of these surgeries and 5 years of excruciating discomfort was the fact that I had a vision, I had an inspiration and purpose, a V.I.P, that I was going to hold solid. And no matter how bedridden I became or how much threatened I became with not being able to poop for the rest of my life or whatever it was, I stuck to my vision. And so these visions are things that we must grow and expand. They are the core of our humanity. And the bigger the problems we have, the bigger the visions we need to get over them. So you'll see in the universe that everything is expanding, whether it's a tree trunk, whether it's the stars, the galaxies, everything is blowing outwards. They talk about the Big Bang, and it's still going bang, it's still going outwards. And just in the same way, we instead of shrinking into the black hole of life, which is to get smaller and smaller and react to the traumas and struggles of our time, we need to be in an expansive mode, just like this drawing illustrates the ring barks of a tree getting bigger to handle the challenges of life. The real story of your life is it's going to have ups and downs. Let's have real expectation. There is going to be virus, there's going to be global crisis, there's going to be things we didn't expect. But what we most need is a vision, inspiration and purpose that takes us through stuff that is stronger than the emotional and the feelings and the reactions we have that come to us through life. This leads us to the why. So what I want to explain here is a vision quest builds the things that we really need in life. A vision quest builds and helps us become quite, let's say, over the top of things, big picture thinkers, visionaries. Usually it's done here, up in the Himalayas, in the caves of the Himalayas of Nepal, way up in the mountains. This view looking out over Mount Everest from Kalapata is a magnificent setting, and where I've taken thousands of people up to do their vision quests. But what I've learnt is we don't have to go up into these mountains to do vision quests. Here's a group that I took. We all went up. This is on the way up to that place I was just showing you. And I've taken people to this resort, the Ritz-Carlton in Bali, to do vision quests. I've taken corporate groups to do company visions out in nature. But the most important thing about a vision is that it sets somewhere out into the future and it never stops expanding. And that's the key. It never stops expanding. So we don't just do one vision quest. The other part about a vision quest is we have our lower mind, we have our middle mind, and we have our higher mind. And the vision quest is done from the higher mind. You must be able to engage this higher mind, and that's why high mountain scenes, which are so inspiring and are far away from the lower needs of the human system, that's why we use those big visionary places. But we can do that in our own backyard, and that's what I'm going to show you here. The objective of a vision quest is life control, to give you some sense of an imagined future that is so powerful that you become present with the future. It's a future memory, an imagination of the future, and we divide that into 7 areas of life to make sure that we don't leave some important things that which will lead to regret. So we do a vision quest with a framework. The core of a vision quest is happiness and fun. So if you are thinking that a vision quest is some dour experience that you might be sad and miserable and sit in the back dead serious and go out and starve yourself for 14 days in some Himalayan cave, completely wrong. This is a picture of people on a vision, and I'm leading that vision. And in this case, they're nuns in Bhutan. But it's always a joyful experience to do a vision quest. And if you're not laughing, you're not doing one. Here's my teacher up at Tengboche in the Himalayas of Nepal. Here's some monks that I worked with. Again, visionary people laughing and enjoying spirituality as it's really meant to be. A powerful, powerful connection to the future we want to create for the world. You can use it for your sport. I find that when I work with athletes, the person with the greatest certainty in the sport leads the sport. And so in this sport I'm showing you here, ocean paddling in a ski, it's quite frightening sometimes because massive surf and massive waves come through and you question what in the hell I'm doing here. So a vision is really important in that aspect. Here's me talking to a group of people up in Canada, young students, and what we do is we say, if you don't know your vision, you won't learn. And that's a really important connection. The mind will create memory of what you're reading if it can link what you're reading and learning to where you're going. In other words, if a youth wants to be an athlete and they're learning about mathematics and they can't link mathematics to athleticism, they will fail the subject. They will not pass. If they can link it, if they say, I want to be a business person and mathematics is important in business, they will remember it. Learning and education is a critical part of having a good vision and a clear indication of where you want to be in the future. And in my business dealings, I've owned and sold and gone through 2 major business changes that cost a lot of money. And holding your vision steady in business is called leadership. Let's talk about this a little bit more later. So right now, family fun, little ones. When you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They've always got an answer. So let's learn from the young ones. Even when you're with people that you don't necessarily ideologically agree with. This is a Chinese soldier on the Great Wall of China, and I was on my way to Tibet where to witness the persecution of the Tibetan people by the Chinese military. And still, I believe if you have a vision, it encompasses others and teaches you to hold that strong rather than to be caught up in trying to and caught up in judgments and small talk. So, what's your reason? And that's the great question when you wake up in the morning. Do you have a reason to bounce out of bed that inspires you, that's long-term, that's not just a reason for today, like, I got to have brekkie or take a pee. I'm talking about a reason that might be even longer than your own length of your own life. When the why is big enough, the hows take care of themselves. And that's why we want to do a vision quest. We want a why so huge, so powerful, so inspiring that the how to do it takes care of itself. And let's move to the last one here. The person with the greatest certainty leads. So whether you're a sports person, an athlete, a family member, the person with the greatest certainty at the start of the race or during the business day is going to be the leader of that group. And that's a winning edge. And that's why a vision quest is so important. Having a compass A moral compass is not so important as having a vision, because a vision will give you a direction and a reason why you would want to behave in a certain way. A vision changes behavior, it changes attitudes, it changes environments, it lifts people up, it rises them up to their potential, and none of us want to die with a tank full of petrol. So a vision quest is really important. So let's talk about how you're going to do your vision quest if you're willing to do it. Firstly, you've got to find your angel self. You've got to find that part of yourself that is angelic, that is beyond your doubts, beyond your questions of reality, beyond your perception of what you think you can and can't do. You have to find your spirit guide, your angel self, your higher self, call it what you will. We bring into this the awareness of the 4 elements of thought. And we know that gratitude, presence, certainty, and love are the 4 that are important. We learn also that we can't just do a vision quest in one foul chunk. We do it step by step, inch by inch, as we go through the day. So the vision quest lasts for 30 days. And over that 30 days, there are different feedback systems that we use to create the vision quest. And with that vision quest, over the 30 days, you'll be experiencing different feedback systems that will give your mind a chance to resonate at different levels of the vision. What we'll do is we'll create a 3-dimension approach. Feel good, make money, love and romance, have health and well-being and success in life. It's your fingerprint. This is the most important thing to know in a vision quest. It's your fingerprint. You're not trying to emulate somebody else. You're not putting somebody else on a pedestal. You're trying to find out what it is you would love to do. If you couldn't fail, what would you love to do? We're going to create a 7 areas of life plan. We're going to use this to get mind control. We're going to use this vision quest to tune ourselves into the universal laws of nature. And most importantly, we're going to take 30 days to do it. We're going to step each day, each morning, each night into a 10-minute zone of love to thinking. We're going to use the corpus callosum part of the human brain, and we're going to do that really cleverly. We're going to firstly create a sense of inspiration, a gratitude for the present moment. We're going to have a sense of purpose. Why are we doing this vision quest? And then we're going to do the vision quest step by step. It's a leap of faith. There's a difference between the current reality and the future reality that you will have. In this leap of faith, we need to let go of what we're holding on to at present and take a leap of faith into the unknown. A lot of people are spooked by this, but what we're going to do is we're going to slice off the current reality and we're going to become present with the future in the process of creating your vision. There'll be a gap between what you've got and what you want. We're going to build the power of that gap by being grateful for what we've got in order to cause and create what we want. So the greatest human power, let's plan, let's create, let's tell a story, which is your vision, and go into the future in silence with a deep knowing. It's one of the most powerful feedback loops you can have. If you set a clear vision, then everything that happens on a day, you'll be able to link to that vision and you'll have a positive feedback loop in every aspect of your life. Even if something goes wrong, like a virus, which closes you down or makes you go home or makes you frightened, you will ask and answer this question: how does this virus help me live my vision? Instead of being annoyed by the virus or frightened of the virus, you're going to say, how does this virus help me fulfill my vision in life? What a powerful feedback loop. And last but not least, you'll recognize yourself as an instrumental and vital part of a global process of evolution. Your vision forms part of the jigsaw. You don't. Your identity don't. Your personality don't. Your thoughts don't. Your beliefs don't. Your vision does. Your vision is part of the fabric that puts a story together, which is called the story of our planet. And that's why your vision quest is really important. The way you do a vision quest is you contact me. I will dictate and create for you your own personal audio tape. If you're coached, it's part of your coaching program. If you're not coached, talk to me about being coached and doing a vision quest with your own personal audio to use morning and night to do your vision quest for 30 days. This is Chris. You have a beautiful day. Bye for now.